What is going on, my beautiful D.D.D fam? It is your boy Brendan, aka Drip, back with another video. In today's video, we have a video where I'm going to be talking about how, in my personal opinion, so far this feels like the best format that Blue Eyes has gotten to play in a long time. Because one, we're off the radar and we're considered a rogue deck. Two, we can actually compete and beat the relevant decks and no one sees us coming. Basically rogue. On top of that, we can utilize our hand traps so much more than our competitors, and we can use them as defense, but we can also use them as consistency slash bridge us into our extra deck, which is very, very nice. Some of them are obvious that you already know, but other ones are tech choices for me. And I don't know if I'm going to be posting the new profile before or after this video, but whatever one, you might want to check on the channel and see which one I posted first. I still don't know which one I'm going to do first. But we're going to be talking about how all of our hand traps in our deck are two-way cards. And if you don't know what I mean by the term two-way, the two-way means we can use them to slow our opponent down, but we can also utilize them to help us bridge into our extra deck, or use them to protect and insulate our combos to make sure our stuff resolves and to enforce our board presence slash follow-up. So, but if you like this kind of content, guys, please don't hesitate to hit the like button. It's the best way to show me that you all enjoy my content and enjoy what I do, and I love you so much for it. While you're at it, if you don't mind, please check the description for all the ways to support me, whether it's my Patreon, just joining my Discord, my affiliate link for TCG Player costs 0 charge for you, but you just buy your cards on there and I get a small kickback, and I love you so much for that. Also, if you want some Team-DDD merch, my link is down there as well to go get you some merch. But now that we got that all out of the way, let's go ahead and get into this video, guys. The first thing we're going to be discussing is the main deck hand traps in my hand trap lineup that I am opting to go with for the time being. That being 2 Effect Veiler, 3 Impermanence, 3 Droll and Lockbird, 3 Ash, 3 of the best one go spell, and 1 Magnemite. Let me make sure we're still in frame. We are good to go, brother. Some of these are going to be self-explanatory in the form of how we can utilize them in multiple ways, but other ones are to newer players or returning players, or some people just in general, you might not understand. But in this portion of the video, I'm going to break it down how these hand traps are, in some ways, the best one-for-one trades and the most impactful, high-impact hand traps in the current modern era of Yu-Gi-Oh! In this format. Started out with Effect Veiler, okay? Obvious. It's not the most impactful right now, hence why I'm running at 2, and I will potentially drop it down to 1 to make my deck a clean 40, because right now my deck is a 41 card deck, but I still wanted to be able to run 15 non-engine to increase the possibility of drawing 2 to 3 copies hand traps, because unfortunately Yu-Gi-Oh! Is who has the best 1-card combo. That's just how unfortunate it is. But Veiler, being a level 1 light tuner, makes it to where we can search it with cards like Wishes and add it back from our graveyard with our Master if you run that card. A lot of this is explanatory. A lot of you all who know Blue Eyes already know this. That doesn't mean nothing. And you can link it away for the link 1. Nothing new. It's a spellcaster. Self-explanatory. Imperm, a lot of you all are going to already know this too. Impermanence is a defensive one. But unlike the Veiler, that is a 2-way. This is a 2-way because you can do offense stuff, but you can do defense stuff. This is just a defensive one. In some ways, it can get extra utility by being just a trap card in general that you are able to reset off of Tyrant. The ability to reset interactions while still making more interactions just is one of the ways that why Blue Eyes in the modern game is just very, very powerful. Moving forward to Droll and Lockbird, which is another 2-way hand trap. And some of you already know, but like I said, I'm going to be explaining this as if you are just straight vanilla and you're coming to this deck or coming back into the game and you want to learn more about the deck or interactions that hand traps can do with our deck when it comes to deck building, or the way I like to deck build. The reason why I'm playing Droll and Lockbird here instead of my Molcharmy Fualos is because this is more high impact, and there's nothing more frustrating than when you go Molcharmy Fualos and they go Ash Blossom and Joy Spring. It sucks, it sucks, it sucks. On top of that, yes, you can just keep drawing cards for days, but a lot of the good players can play around it or play through it or whatever. And it doesn't matter, whether it be an Ash Blossom called by the grave, or they just make a mediocre board and just hand trap you to death and utilize the little bit of board presence that he did to try to slow you down. But another reason why this is really good is the dual threat part of it is it's a spellcaster that you can normal summon to link off into your link 1 to be able to continue your combos, which is absolutely busted. That's another reason why I decided to run this instead of the Molcharmy Fualos. On top of that, this card is always live no matter what, as where Fualos you have to control no cards, which is very unfortunate. On top of that, if you've been a member of the channel for a while, then one, shout outs to you, and I thank you so much for it. But if you are, you would know the saying that my motto that I go by is, and that motto is utility over, consistency over utility. I almost said my own motto backwards. Consistency over utility. That's the way I deck build, and that's the way I approach deck building. So this is a dual threat consistency card / utility card. You always want, and the consistency over utility means you never want to sacrifice consistency just to be able to have utility cards that interact with your opponent. Because at the end of the day, your consistency will always outdo utility. Because there's nothing more annoying than having all the utility cards, you stop your opponent, okay, and then you go to your turn, you don't have nothing to do because you have no consistency. That's why my motto is consistency over utility. But Droll being a dual threat is absolutely disgusting because it just does so much for you, and it can be a defense and it can be offense. Ash Blossom is more so of a defensive card. Obviously, it's one of the card staples that's been around for years and years and years. But the main utility it gets from it now is the ability to stop all the Molcharmies from resolving, which is really, really impactful. That's the utility that we get out of that. Excuse me. Now, Ghost Bell, which outside of the Charmies, in my personal opinion, is the best single-handed hand trap in this format besides Droll and the Charmies. This card is another dual threat hand trap. And the way that you can dual threat this is obviously against like Malice or Mitsurugi and stuff like that. Be able to stop cards from coming out of the graveyard or leaving the graveyard or doing anything with the graveyard is absolutely not nasty and is very, very nice. But another utility that we get out of this is the ability to stop our opponent from banishing our stuff from the graveyard, whether it be our we're playing against Malice and they go Whitebinder and they try to banish our Blue Eyes and our Maidens and stuff like that. This being able to stop that is absolutely high impact in my personal opinion. On top of that, if you go high impact hand trap like Fualos or Droll and Lockbird and they chain the Sack by the Grave, because your opponent always draws the one of and you don't. Remember that. So if they chain Called by the Grave, aka Sack by the Grave that I call it, you can chain Ghost Belts and basically prevent that from happening, which is absolutely disgusting and allows your stuff to resolve. And they basically went neg 1. Definitely if you're playing Fualos and it resolved, they went neg 1 and they were going to attempt to play into it, you're just continuously drawing cards while they are going hard neg, and they're never going to be able to recoup that card advantage that you have gained on them. That's why I like Ghost Bell so much. And then Bystial Magnemite is self-explanatory. This card does so much. It searches your Ether Barrel. It searches your Neo Kaiser Seahorse. It is a regular normal hand trap that just banishes stuff from graveyard in an era where stuff loves to be flowed through the graveyard. And it's a level 6 paired with a level 1 that allows you to make your Moonlight, make your Moonlight. So that's how this ties in with your consistency with your main deck, while also being an extra cherry on top that allows you to tie in your extra deck. If you can have the ability to do all of that, to tie all three together, it's like consistency and main deck and extra deck, then your deck is just above the rest in my personal opinion. That's just my outlook on it. That's it for the main deck hand traps and how they are, whether they're a dual threat or just defensive hand traps. Like I said, a lot of you all probably already know this, but I was wanting to touch on some things that maybe some of you all didn't know. On to the next ones is going to be the side deck. My side deck, I think, is absolutely perfect, at least for what I'm trying to accomplish, what I'm playing against, which is a bunch of Raizio, Mitsurugi, and Malice, and Fiendsmith, a combination of all of those decks, whether they're pile decks together or just in their purity form. That's mainly what I play against. But the best hand trap for Blue Eyes to play that other decks can play but won't get the maximum utility out of it, when arguably the best side deck card in my side deck, and that is Cyframe Gear Gamma. This card is absolutely disgusting. If you played when this card was at 3, then you know what I'm talking about. If not, then you're about to find out why it's at 1, and why, and some people who are not Blue Eyes players are probably happy that it's at 1 because of how much utility we can utilize from this card. If you're a Blue Eyes player, you already know the number 1 card that your opponent's going to potentially ash is they're groomed to ash the Wishes. They're groomed to, because everyone tells them, hey man, just ash the Wishes and they lose. That's not always the case unless you didn't open optimal anyways and you had the subpar hand, and then that's just self-explanatory. But the ability to this being a dual threat on both ends is absolutely disgusting. Both of these cards are dual threat. Even the Brick Driver. And we'll talk about that in a second. This being able to stop your opponent dead in their tracks and destroy it is absolutely disgusting. Because against Malice, negating and destroying is very, very impactful, because they lost the effect and they lost the body, which is so, so impactful against them. And it's very impactful against a lot of decks too. So negating and getting rid of the body is just next level. On top of that, this insulating your board being a dual threat by making sure your Wishes resolves is just next level as well. Because unlike the Charmies, you can control cards, you just can't control monsters. This insulating your Wishes, this insulating your Lordly Load is just insane. Absolutely insane. And on top of that, being able to synchro these two together can hard make the new addition to the extra deck, Ancient Fairy Life Dragon. So if you go Lordly Load or Wishes and they chain Ash, Flawless, or whatever, something you don't want to deal with, you chain this, summon this, they go neg 1, you synchro these for this, draw 1 on resolution. So not only did you add 2 cards off of your Wishes, you also drew a third card. So you went inherently +3 while your opponent went neg 1, which is absolutely disgusting. And now you have a huge body that you can attack with your defense stat, which is 3,300. So we don't, and like this is just another card that bridges your consistency, your defense, and your extra deck all in one. And cards that can do that are always inherently going to be better in your deck than in other decks. And you will always have a, like, I can't think of the word I'm thinking of. You'll always have an advantage over other decks, which is absolutely nasty and just very, very good to say the least. There's nothing more I can say about this. Oh, another thing, actually there is, because I'm about to tell you. This can also be sent to the graveyard off of our field spell, which is absolutely disgusting. Because a lot of people don't know, Maz, aka Mausoleum, only has the Foolish a normal card, which is, this counts as a normal card. On top of that, this being a 6, you can take, like I said, this and another level 1 to hard make this. Well, how would you get this on board without resolving this? This is a normal monster. You can summon it off of Lordly Load. So you can take this and a level 1 to summon this. Granted, this effect will be dead on summon, but it's still going to be an additional compulse on your opponent's turn. So hard making this and then making Hieratic Seal gives you a double compulse on your opponent's turn, which is stupid and more stupid, which is, like I said, stupid. Moving on to the rest of the side deck that we can utilize, and a lot of it's going to be self-explanatory. 3 Nib, 3 Judgment, and Skill Drain. Now, how do we, or my build or myself, utilize these cards outside of their self-explanatory stuff? Nib being Nib the Rock Johnson, skill drain, taking the skill out of the game, and God saying no. Well, these are obvious because these say no, and they're traps that you can reset off Tyrant. Those are self-explanatory that a lot of you already know. Well, guess what Nib's dual threat is? Because Nib's a dual threat. How is Nib a dual threat? You're about to find out. And the reason being is you resolve Nib and you summon Nib, okay? What a lot of people don't know is Nib is a level 11 because we're Yu-Gi-Oh players. There's two things we don't do. We don't read and we don't count. This is a level 11, so you take level 11 Nib and a level 1 tuner to hard synchro the Crimson Dragon. This is another reason why I like the Crimson Dragon. Yes, this is a situation that would probably 1 in a million chance to come up, but at the end of the day, if you prepare for that 1 in a million, you're fine. Another motto that I have, whether it's with Yu-Gi-Oh or not, definitely a life motto that I go by, and that is prepare to be unprepared. If you don't know what I mean by that is, whether you want to factor this in with Yu-Gi-Oh, you want to factor this in with anything with life. If you prepare to be unprepared, then you will never not be unprepared. And if you don't know what I mean by that, that means think of all of the situations that can happen and prepare for those as long as they're logical. As long as they're logical, you don't want to go far-fetched and overthink, because there's a fine line between overthinking and preparing to be unprepared. But in situations like this that can come up and will come up in certain game states, you're already running this package anyways. You might as well think of keep this stuff in mind and be mindful of it, to where if it does come up, you don't miss it. Because whether I'm running Nib or not, I'm obviously going to be running the Crimson Dragon package because I just like it. It helps me push for game, and you need auto kill buttons in this deck to be able to just end it quickly so they don't get any more resources. But Nib being able to be a high impact hand trap and is a solid hand trap this format, besides against Mitsurugi, and if they don't overextend, is very, very nice, because it allows you to take this and a level 1 tuner to make this, and we obviously run an abundance of level 1 tuners, which is really, really nice. But that's actually it for the consistency pieces of our extra deck and our side deck, and how we can utilize them in ways that other people couldn't. Because if you look at these hand traps, yes, a lot of people could probably run these hand traps in their deck, but it's not going to bridge everything together like it does in our deck, which gives us an upper hand advantage, in my personal opinion, because the number one thing that goes back to Yu-Gi-Oh is all of the non-engine usually conflicts most of the time, to where it tampers your consistency and prohibits it, like from you having consistency. As where when our deck in this current format, everything flows like a creek. It just flows like water pretty much, which is absolutely nice, and I can't ask for more. But I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Again, if you like this kind of content, please don't hesitate to tell me, and check the description for all the ways to support me. And I love you guys so much for all the support, no matter if it's just liking this video. But again, it's your boy Brennan, aka Drip from Team-DDD. Sign out next time. Peace. Good doing, my guys. Love you.